It was supposed to be a routine crash scene. Nothing unusual, nothing dangerous. Late one night in 1997, Officer Ryan Hale responded to a single-car accident on a winding mountain road in Washington state. He called it in. His voice calm, professional. But then silence. When backup arrived just 11 minutes later, Ryan was gone. His patrol car was still idling, lights flashing in the dark. His gun still holstered. His radio sitting on the passenger seat. No blood, no footprints. Just vanished. For 6 years, no one knew what happened. Locals had theories. Some believed he ran off. Others whispered darker things, ambush, corruption, maybe worse. But there was no proof, no body, no answers. Then, in 2003, a tow truck driver was clearing a rusted wreck near the same remote spot. And he saw something. Something lodged deep inside a crushed, forgotten car, half buried under years of mud and pine needles. It had been missed, overlooked, ignored. But what he found, it didn't just explain what happened to Officer Hale. It revealed something no one was ready for. And it was worse than anyone imagined. This is the story of what really happened that night, what was hidden, and why it took 6 years to finally bring the truth to light. Stick around, because what they uncovered next will stay with you. If you're into gripping, real-life mystery stories like this one, hit that like button, drop a comment with your theories, and don't forget to subscribe. It's just after 9:40 p.m. on a cold October night in 1997. Fog rolls in thick over a mountain road in Northern California. A 911 call comes in. The caller is a trucker, voice calm but urgent. "Yeah, just passed a wreck. Single car off the road near mile marker 83. Kinda hard to see, still got lights on." The dispatcher types in the report. The location is remote, just 2 lanes, no streetlights, thick trees on both sides. Not unusual for minor accidents out here, but still, they have to check it. Officer Ryan Hale is on duty nearby. He's 27, reliable, always answers calls fast. He's patrolling just 12 miles away. Dispatcher radios him. "Unit 27, respond to possible single-vehicle crash. Mile marker 83. Ryan replies within seconds. "Copy that, en route now." Dashcam shows him driving into heavier fog as he gets closer. Trees blur past. He checks his radio again, this time sounding more alert. Visibility's low. Slowing down, should be there in a minute. This stretch of road is known to be dangerous. Narrow shoulders, sharp drops. It's easy to miss something even in daylight. He adds one last message. "I see headlights through the trees. I'm pulling off now." That's the last full sentence anyone hears from him. Ryan stops his cruiser just off the main road. The camera on his dash shows what he sees. A small red car, front end crushed, leaning in a ditch about 15 feet down a slope. Its headlights are still on. Driver's side door is open. Ryan grabs his flashlight and walks out of view. He leaves the engine running. His body mic catches him saying quietly, "Vehicle found, lights on, no driver in sight." Then silence. Dispatch waits for a follow-up. Usually, officers call back fast, either to say everything's fine or to request help. This time, nothing comes. They try calling Ryan on the radio again. "Unit 27, status check." No answer. Another minute passes, then 2. Now they start to worry. A supervisor calls in again, still no reply. They alert nearby units. Last known location, off-road near marker 83. Officer unresponsive. Possible code 99. Code 99 means officer in danger or down. The nearest backup unit is 11 minutes away. They tell dispatch their rolling code, lights and sirens. Roads are slick, fog is thick, but they push through. What they don't know yet is, Ryan is already gone. Backup arrives just 11 minutes after Ryan's last check-in. They spot his cruiser first. It's parked off to the side, flashers still blinking through the fog, engine still running. They call out, "Unit 27, do you copy?" No answer. They approach the wrecked red car down the slope. Same as before. No one inside, no blood, no signs of a struggle yet. Back up the hill, one officer checks Ryan's cruiser. The door is open. Ryan's flashlight is on the ground, still working, just lying beside the door. His radio is still clipped to the dash. His sidearm still in its holster. His keys still in the ignition. It's like he stepped out to check the crash and never came back. They start shouting his name, searching the woods, calling on all channels. Within the hour, more units arrive. K-9 teams, helicopters, everyone's looking. But there's no sign of Officer Ryan Hale. It's as if he vanished into the fog. The first officers on the scene are confused. They expect to find something, anything, a set of footprints, a fight, a body, but it's just empty. They check around Ryan's patrol car. The driver's door is open. His flashlight is lying on the ground next to it. It's still on, slowly dying. But there are no signs of a struggle, no broken glass, no drag marks, no blood. The grass around the car isn't bent. The dirt isn't disturbed. There are no tire tracks from any other vehicle. There's only one set of footprints, and they stop near the back of Ryan's car. After that, nothing. Officers shine flashlights into the trees. They search under the road. They call out Ryan's name again and again. No answer. They check the nearby slope, thinking maybe he fell. But the terrain is clear. Not a branch is broken. It's like he vanished into thin air. Then they bring in the K-9 unit. The dog sniffs Ryan's seat, then jumps out of the car and runs 10 feet. It stops, circles, whines, then sits down. The scent trail ends right there, in the dirt behind the car. It doesn't make sense. Ryan Hale is a trained officer, strong, healthy. He's also careful. If there had been a threat, he would have called for backup. If someone ran, he would have chased them and radioed in. But there was nothing like that. He had arrived at a single-vehicle crash. The car he came to check, still sitting in the ditch. Front bumper crushed, headlights on, keys in the ignition, but no one inside, and the plates come back to a fake registration. No ID, no trace. Whatever happened here happened fast. In less than 2 minutes, Officer Ryan Hale disappeared. Just gone. By morning, the scene turns into a full search operation. More officers arrive. Search dogs, drones, helicopters, fire crews, even volunteers from town. Everyone knows Ryan. He's one of the good guys, and now he's missing. The fog starts to lift, but the air stays cold and wet. People shout Ryan's name into the trees. Some climb the rocks. Others follow the stream. No one finds anything. One group discovers boot prints farther down the road, but they're old. Not Ryan's. Another group hears something crack in the trees. They rush in. Guns drawn, but it's just a deer. Day 1 passes, nothing. Then day 2. Still nothing. The police make flyers. They search cabins. They knock on every door in a 10-mile radius. No one saw anything. No one heard anything, not a scream, not a car. Nothing. It's like the mountain swallowed him. By day 4, they bring in thermal drones. They sweep the entire crash area. No heat signatures, no fresh trails, nothing. Local news runs the story. Officer missing in fog. Reporters show the crash site. They interview Ryan's family. His brother Mark says he doesn't just walk off, something happened, someone knows. Search teams keep going. By day 6, morale drops. A few officers cry. Some volunteers go home. But the search doesn't stop. Ryan's badge number is written in red on every search map, 2471. His cruiser is finally towed from the mountain. It's empty, clean, no fingerprints except his own. The last hope comes from a woman who says she saw a man walking down the road that night. Police rush to talk to her, but the timing doesn't match. She's talking about a hiker 2 days before the crash. Dead end. The mountain doesn't give anything back. After 10 days, the official search ends. But Ryan's family doesn't stop. His brother keeps hiking the trail alone. Every weekend, every weather, he never stops looking. Something happened on that mountain road, and no one can explain it. As the official search winds down, the mountain goes quiet, but the town doesn't. In the diners, gas stations, and church parking lots, people start talking. How does a cop just disappear? Some whisper Ryan ran off. Maybe he had a secret life. Maybe the stress got to him. Maybe it was suicide. Others say no way, Ryan loved his job, loved his family. He'd never do that. Then a darker theory starts to spread. Maybe Ryan saw something he shouldn't have. Maybe someone wanted him gone. Maybe it wasn't an accident at all. Locals remember a few strange cases from earlier that year, missing hikers, a break-in near the ranger station. Some think they're connected. Then one man claims he heard Ryan had been investigating something off-book, a drug route, smugglers, cartel. But no proof ever surfaces. A few even blame Ryan, say he staged the whole thing to escape something, to start over. But no one can explain why he'd leave behind his wallet, his badge, his car, or why he wouldn't say goodbye to his own brother. The story keeps twisting. Reporters pick up the rumors and spin their own angles. Cop with secrets, suicide or setup. Ryan's family watches the headlines with broken hearts. His mother refuses to speak to the press. His brother Mark punches a reporter who calls Ryan unstable. People begin choosing sides. In town, the Ryan knew something theory gets louder. On forums and late-night radio, strangers debate what really happened that night on the mountain. But no one knows the truth. Only this: Ryan Hale, officer's son brother, drove up a foggy road and vanished. Mark Hale never believed the rumors. He knows his brother. Ryan wouldn't run. He wouldn't fake his death. He wouldn't give up. So Mark hikes that road himself, over and over again. He retraces every step, talks to rangers, watches bodycam footage, stares at satellite maps. For months he keeps searching. Then one rainy afternoon, Mark finds something. He's walking along the tree line just past the crash site where the search had faded out. The ground is muddy. His boots are soaked. He's about to turn back when he sees it. Something silver, half buried in the grass. He kneels down and pulls it out. It's Ryan's watch. Same brown leather band, same cracked face, still ticking. Mark just stares at it. Then he drops to his knees. He sobs into the grass for 10 straight minutes. He holds the watch like it's his brother's hand. Because Ryan never took that watch off. Never. Not once since their dad gave it to him before passing away. If the watch is here, cracked, dirty, tossed like trash, then something bad happened. Someone left it here. Someone wanted it to be found. Mark shows the watch to police. They bag it, run tests. No DNA, no blood, just Ryan's prints and a thin trace of motor oil. It's a clue, but not an answer. And now Mark knows what he's always believed. Ryan didn't walk away. He was taken. The Hale family kitchen is quiet. Ryan's mom sits at the table holding a photo of her son. He's in uniform, smiling, his badge shining under the sun. His dad sits across from her, arms crossed, not saying much. 2 investigators are there. They lay out a small notebook, press, record, and begin asking questions. When did you last see Ryan? His mom clears her throat. That morning, he came by before his shift, just wanted to check in. Her voice shakes. Did he seem off, sad, worried? She shakes her head. No, he was the same as always, calm, focused, kind. Ryan's dad finally speaks. If you're thinking he ran away, you can forget it. My boy didn't run. One investigator looks down, then gently asks, had Ryan mentioned anyone troubling him? Anyone following him? Maybe someone from work? His mom clutches the photo tighter. No, nothing like that. He loved his job. The investigator nods. We just want to get the full picture. She looks up. Here's your picture. My son always wanted to help people since he was little. He was proud to serve this town, and he had no reason to leave it. Mark Hale walks along the fence behind his house. His hands are in his pockets. A camera crew follows, filming a documentary 6 months after Ryan vanished. He wasn't just my brother, Mark says. He was like my anchor. The scene cuts to old home video footage. Ryan is about 17, pitching in Mark's little league game. He strikes a kid out, then jogs up to Mark, ruffles his hair, and laughs. He always showed up, Mark's voice says over the clip. Always. Another scene plays, Ryan teaching Mark to drive. They're in an old red truck bouncing on a dirt road. Ryan laughs as Mark stalls out. He doesn't get mad, just tells him to try again. Back to the present. Mark stands beside Ryan's patrol photo, now framed on the wall. Ryan helped coach the high school baseball team, Mark says. He volunteered at the fire station when they were short. He pauses. He was more than a cop. He made everyone feel safe, me included. He wipes his eyes. People say all kinds of things when someone disappears, but not one part of me believes Ryan left on purpose. He wouldn't do that. Not to us. Not to me. Inside the police station, Captain Dennis Cole leans back in his chair. He's been with the department 28 years. I hired Ryan myself, he says. One of the sharpest rookies I'd ever seen. Steady hands, good instincts. He looks down at a photo on his desk. Ryan, shaking hands after finishing his training. But there was something, the captain says. Something I haven't told anyone yet. The reporter raises an eyebrow. What was it? 2 months before the crash, Cole says slowly, Ryan asked to be taken off night shifts. The reporter scribbles that down. Why? Cole shakes his head. He didn't say, he just said he was tired, said the long nights were wearing on him. The reporter waits, that's all. Cole leans forward now. No, he looked nervous, not like him, usually calm under pressure, but this was different. He kept checking the windows. The reporter asks, did you ask him why? I did, he said it was nothing. Captain Cole pauses, but I don't think it was nothing. He looks away. If I had pushed harder, if I had dug a little deeper, maybe we wouldn't be having this talk. He stands up and walks to the window. And maybe Ryan would still be here. A week after Ryan vanished, someone in HR was going through his desk files. Buried deep in the bottom drawer was a folded sheet of paper. It was a formal transfer request. Ryan had asked to be taken off night duty, effective immediately. It was dated 2 months before the crash. The reason, he wrote, personal safety concerns, requesting reassignment to daytime patrols. It was signed and stamped, but it had never been processed. The request had been denied due to short staffing, but nobody remembered Ryan ever following up or pushing back. His captain swore he never brought it up again. Same with his sergeant. Even Mark, his younger brother, said Ryan never mentioned anything about trouble at work. But something was off. This wasn't just a casual change of schedule. Ryan clearly wrote that he felt unsafe working nights. Why? Why didn't he tell anyone more? Why didn't he press the issue? The department started digging deeper. Was there something going on during his night shifts? A case he didn't want to be involved in? Or maybe something was watching him while he patrolled those dark roads. Whatever the reason, Ryan never spoke about it again. And now he was gone. 7 days before Ryan vanished, he filed a short report at the end of his shift. It described a white male, possibly in his 40s, seen standing near the guardrail at mile marker 83. Yes, the same place where Ryan would later disappear. He noted it happened 3 nights in a row. Same man, same spot. Same time around 2:15 a.m. Ryan described the man as still facing the drop, wearing a hooded coat. No car, no backpack, just standing there. Ryan said he tried to approach him on the 3rd night. He flashed his lights, pulled over, got out. But the man stepped back into the fog and vanished down the hill before Ryan could say a word. Ryan's report ended with, unidentified male, no confrontation, will monitor. It was filed under routine activity. No further action taken. After Ryan disappeared, investigators pulled this report again. It hit differently now. Why was this man out there 3 nights in a row? Was he watching Ryan? Was Ryan watching him? Could he have been involved somehow? They searched that stretch of road again, focusing on the slope behind the guardrail. But just like before, no footprints, no clues. Just fog and trees. And 100 more questions. 3 weeks after the funeral, Mark finally went into Ryan's room. It had stayed untouched since the day he vanished. Bed made, uniform jacket hanging on the chair, a cup of half-used pens on the desk. Mark sat down and opened the drawer. Inside was a small black notebook. Ryan used to carry it during training, jotting down shift notes, names of officers, call signs, and tips from senior patrolmen. Mark flipped through it, smiling at first. One page had a sketch of a tire tread. Another listed license plates from a car chase Ryan once helped stop. But near the back the tone changed. The handwriting got tighter, more rushed. Then on the very last page, Ryan had written, "Same guy again. Third time this week, standing by the guardrail. No ID, no car, disappears before I get close." Then beneath that, one more line. "Something off. Don't like this stretch of road lately." That was it. No signature, no date. Mark just stared at it. The words echoed what Ryan had said in his transfer request. He felt unsafe, like something out there was wrong. Mark brought the notebook to the investigators. They photographed it, bagged it, filed it as evidence. But it didn't bring them any closer to understanding what had happened that night. Why was this man always at mile marker 83? Why did Ryan feel so uneasy? And why, just 1 week later, did he vanish in that same exact spot? No one knew it then, but this final journal entry would be the last time anyone heard Ryan Hale's voice. And it was full of fear. After weeks of combing through every detail, one question kept rising to the surface. Was Ryan being watched? Detectives began mapping his patrol routes, reviewing dash cam footage, cross-checking call logs. A disturbing pattern emerged. Almost every night for the 2 months before the crash, Ryan passed mile marker 83 between 2:00 and 2:30 a.m. That's exactly when the strange man had been reported. And it's exactly where Ryan's wrecked cruiser was found. But here's the thing, no one ever saw the actual crash happen. There were no skid marks, no broken branches, no obvious signs of impact. It looked like someone had rolled the car into that spot, quietly, slowly, on purpose. And Ryan's body, nowhere. If it had been a real accident, Ryan's injuries should have been obvious. His remains should have been nearby. But there was nothing. It started to feel less like a crash and more like a setup. What if someone knew Ryan's routine? What if they staged the wreck to make it look like an accident? What if they were watching him for weeks, waiting for the right moment? That foggy road, that quiet hour, that same stretch where Ryan felt unsafe. Maybe it wasn't just a bad feeling. Maybe it was a warning. It had been 2 days since Officer Ryan Hale vanished. That's when a trucker called 911 with something strange. He said he was driving down Route 17 around 12:30 a.m., just past mile marker 83, when his headlights caught something weird on the side of the road. At first, he thought it was a deer, but as he got closer, he saw it was a man in a police uniform. And he wasn't alone. The trucker swore he saw 2 shadowy figures dragging the man into the trees. The man wasn't moving. His arms hung limp. The trucker slowed down, confused. But by the time he got his rig turned around, the men and the officer were gone. He thought maybe he imagined it. But when he got to the next gas stop and saw the missing poster for Ryan Hale, he called it in. Police rushed to the spot. Search teams moved through the woods near the highway. They brought dogs, drones, even heat-sensing equipment. But they didn't find anything. No signs of struggle, no torn clothing, no tire tracks, nothing. Just dirt, dead leaves, and silence. Still, the trucker didn't back down. He said he knew what he saw. A cop being taken into the woods. It gave police hope, but it also raised questions. If someone was strong enough to drag Ryan off the road, what else were they capable of? And how did they vanish so fast? The tip became one of the most serious leads in the case. But within 48 hours, it went cold. Another dead end. 2 nights after Ryan disappeared, a woman named Dana was hiking a ridge trail about 4 miles from the crash site. It was evening, sun going down, wind picking up. She stopped near an overlook to drink some water. That's when she heard it. A scream. Far away, faint but real. She said it was high-pitched, full of panic, like someone begging for help. She listened, frozen, for almost a minute. Then another scream, shorter, sharper, echoed through the trees. Then silence. She ran back to the trailhead and called police. Within an hour, a K9 unit was there. The dogs picked up a scent for a while, then lost it near a cluster of rocks. Officers searched the area all night. They found animal tracks, maybe a cougar or coyote, but no blood, no torn fabric, no human prints. No Ryan. Dana told them again. She knew what she heard. She'd been hiking for years. She knew the difference between an animal's call and a person in trouble. But the woods gave nothing back. Just wind moving through the trees. Police stayed quiet about the scream at first. They didn't want to spark rumors. But word got out anyway. Some people thought Ryan might still be alive, hurt, maybe trapped somewhere. Others thought it was something worse. The screams were never recorded, never confirmed. But that moment, the Ridge Trail scream became another eerie piece of the puzzle. Like someone or something wanted to be found, or was trying to warn them. A week later, another tip came in. This one was anonymous. It said, "Check out Kyle Madsen. He and Ryan hated each other in high school." Kyle was a local. He and Ryan had played football together. But they'd fought badly over a girl's senior year. The girl chose Ryan. Kyle never got over it. Later, Kyle got into trouble for hunting without a license. He told people he didn't trust cops, said they were all the same. Now he lived just a few miles from where Ryan vanished. The tip claimed Kyle had been drinking at a bar the night Ryan disappeared, talking loud about finally settling old scores. Police brought him in for questioning. Kyle looked nervous, but he talked. He admitted the fight with Ryan years ago, said he still thought about it, but he denied everything else. He said he was home by midnight that night, watching TV. His girlfriend backed up his story. Police checked his phone records. They matched. No suspicious texts, no strange calls, no evidence he left the house. After a few hours, they let him go. The tip had sounded promising, but again, nothing stuck. No proof, no motive, no link to the crash site. Just more rumors, and another door that slammed shut. It felt like the case was slipping away. Ryan was gone. The leads were drying up. And now even the people who knew him best were starting to question everything. It was fall. Leaves were starting to turn. An older man named Jerry came into the station. He was holding his hat in both hands. He said, "It was maybe 2 weeks after that officer went missing. My dog dug something up." The officer at the front desk leaned forward. "What was it?" Jerry looked nervous. "A notebook. It had blood on it." He said he was walking his dog down a service road about 3 miles from the crash site. The dog started barking at a ditch. Then it jumped down and came back with something in its mouth. "I thought it was garbage," Jerry said, "but it was." He said the notebook looked like a cop's field journal. It had a brown cover. Pages inside were torn. He remembered seeing a name scribbled on one corner, Hale. But Jerry didn't turn it in. He tossed it in his shed. "I didn't want to get involved," he said. Now, weeks later, the guilt hit him. He wanted to do the right thing. Detectives rushed to his property. But when they followed Jerry to the shed, it was empty. The notebook was gone. The shed wasn't locked. Jerry said he hadn't checked on it in days. They searched the property, the woods, even dug around the ditch. Nothing. One detective quietly asked, "Are we being messed with? Was the notebook real, or just another story?" But then another cop spoke up. "If it was fake, why give so many details?" And that's when something clicked. They pulled old photos from Ryan's apartment. In one shot on his desk was a notebook, brown cover, torn edge. It looked just like the one Jerry described. Police showed Jerry the photo. His hand shook. "That's it," he whispered. "That's the one." Still, they had no proof. No notebook, no prints, no blood. Just an old man's word and a dog's nose. The lead went cold, again. The months passed slowly. Every few weeks, a new tip came in. Someone saw a man near the river. Someone else found boots in a field. A third claimed Ryan was alive and living in Canada. The department followed every single one. Over 30 leads. Each one ended the same way, nowhere. Detectives were tired. They had worked long nights, knocked on doors, searched forests, canvassed every inch of that highway. But there was no body, no weapon, no signs of a struggle. It was like Ryan just vanished. The public started to forget. News crews moved on. Reporters stopped calling. Even Ryan's own team had to go back to normal shifts. But behind the scenes, something still didn't sit right. His car didn't flip on its own. The damage didn't match the crash report. And then there was the man in the fog. Some believed that was key. But they had no name, No photo, just a sketch drawn from Ryan's final report. The man's face was rough, older, a scar on his chin. But no one came forward. No one was arrested. A year passed. Mark still called the station every week. Any update, he'd ask. Each time the answer was the same. We're still working on it. But even he was starting to lose hope. At the anniversary vigil, only a few people showed up. A small table with candles. A photo of Ryan. A sign that read, "We won't forget." But it was quiet, too quiet. Mark stared at the highway for a long time that night. Just beyond the trees was the crash site. Still no answers. Still no sign. And deep down, something told him. They were missing something big. But what? And why did the road feel different now? Like something was still there. Watching. Waiting. Mark Hale was supposed to graduate in 1999. He was studying criminal justice. Wanted to follow in Ryan's footsteps. Become a state trooper. Maybe even work alongside his brother one day. But after Ryan disappeared, everything changed. Mark stopped going to class. Stopped returning calls. He couldn't sit through lectures while his brother was still out there somewhere. So he left college. He moved back home, packed Ryan's photos into a backpack, and started his own investigation. His bedroom walls became a command center. Maps, pins, red strings. A stack of notebooks filled with dates, times, theories. He read crash reports, police statements, accident reconstruction logs. He even drove the same stretch of road every night for a month. Looking. Hopping. Mark posted flyers in gas stations and diners. He handed them to hikers, to truckers, to people sleeping in their cars off the highway. "Have you seen this man?" he'd ask, voice shaking. Some just nodded. Others avoided his eyes. He even tracked down Jerry, the man with the dog, and asked to search the property again. Jerry said yes, but they found nothing. Still, Mark didn't stop. He followed a trail into the forest and found an old, rusted trailer. Inside was a backpack with torn clothes and a pair of boots, size 11, Ryan's size. He brought them to the police. They said it wasn't enough. No DNA, no blood, just more dead ends. Mark's friends told him to let go. "It's been 2 years," one said. "You have to live your life." But he didn't listen. "This is my life," he said. And when people asked why he still searched, he always gave the same answer. Because someone out there knows something. And he was going to find them. No matter what. By the year 2000, something shifted. 3 years had passed. The posters were still there, but faded, sun-bleached, torn at the edges. People still whispered about Ryan's case, but only in the past tense. At the third annual vigil, barely 12 people came. No news vans, no reporters, just candles and quiet. Even the police had moved on. They stopped calling with updates, stopped stopping by. Ryan's family was left in the dark. Mark sat by the phone every night, still hoping it would ring. It didn't. His mother stopped asking him to come to dinner. She knew he wouldn't. His father walked the neighborhood with a flashlight some nights, not looking for Ryan anymore, just walking. Everyone grieved in silence. But Ryan's room stayed exactly the same. His bed still made. His badge still hanging on the hook by the door. His watch still ticking. Sometimes Mark would sit in the room and just listen to that soft tick, tick, tick. It made him feel like time hadn't won. That Ryan might still come back and say, "Hey kid, you kept my stuff." Mark would smile and say, "I knew you'd need it." But deep down, that hope was getting thinner, quieter, like the world was slowly trying to erase his brother. And he wasn't sure how much longer he could hold on to the sound. In early spring 2003, the weather turned ugly. For 3 straight days, it rained hard in that part of the state. Roads were closed, creeks overflowed. And near mile marker 83, the same area where Officer Ryan Hale had vanished 6 years earlier, a thick wall of water came rushing down the hillside. The flood tore through everything in its path, trees, rocks, fences. Even the ground itself began to move. Small landslides ripped through the slope and dropped chunks of earth down onto the road below. When it was over, emergency crews showed up to check the damage. What they saw wasn't just fallen trees and mud. The entire side of the hill looked torn open. Old stumps, broken pipes, twisted metal poking out of the dirt. That's when someone called the towing company. They needed help clearing out the mess. No one was thinking about Ryan Hale. But this storm had done something no one else could. It moved the earth. And it was about to move the case forward, too. Leo had been driving tow trucks for over 20 years. He'd pulled cars out of ditches, lakes, even off rooftops once during a windstorm. But when he got the call that morning, he knew this wasn't a normal job. The dispatcher said, "It's a wreck site, near mile marker 83. Mudslide buried some vehicles, just get what you can." Leo grabbed his chains, fired up the flatbed, and headed out. When he arrived, the hillside looked like a war zone. Uprooted trees, broken guardrails, metal and glass scattered everywhere. Some of it looked fresh, but some had clearly been buried for years. Leo worked alone for hours, using the winch to drag twisted frames and rusted-out husks from the mud. Most were old junk, vehicles probably dumped there long ago. But one car looked different. It was jammed deep into the slope, smashed up, covered in roots and black dirt. Leo wrapped the chain and started pulling. As the wreck creaked free from the hillside, something about it made him stop. This didn't feel like junk. The car was almost split in two. The front end was crushed, the roof partly caved in. The paint had peeled off, but underneath the rust, Leo could still see part of a license plate. It looked like it hadn't moved in years. Leo climbed up beside the wreck and shined his flashlight through the broken glass. The inside was a mess. Mud, leaves, even a small animal skeleton near the dash. But when he checked the back seat, something caught his eye. There, half buried beneath some torn fabric and twisted metal, was something small and silver. Leo reached in and pulled it out carefully. It was a badge. Bent, scratched, caked with dried mud, but the name stamped into the back was still clear. Hale. Leo didn't move, he just stared at it. Then he climbed down and called the sheriff. Within an hour, deputies were on scene, surrounding the wreck. One of them radioed the station and said 6 words that hadn't been heard in years. "We found Ryan Hale's patrol badge." Leo stands near the crushed car, hands in his pockets, staring at the mess he just pulled from the mud. The police show up fast, lights flashing, radios buzzing. They move in carefully. The car is almost folded in half, doors crushed, roof caved in. The back seat is barely holding together. An officer crouches down and reaches under the broken seat where Leo spotted something. He pulls out a bundle, mud-covered, torn, but clearly a jacket. They lay it out on the hood of a patrol car. It's navy blue, worn thin at the elbows. The patch is still sewn on the shoulder, County Police. Someone wipes off the name tag. Stitched in yellow thread, R. Hale. Everyone goes quiet. Leo steps back, eyes wide. That was the guy, right? The one that went missing years ago. The detective nods slowly. They check the jacket pockets. Nothing inside, but the collar is stained, faded, and on the back there's a deep rip like it was caught or pulled on something. The detective says, "This isn't just trash. This belonged to him." One officer radios it in. "We've got something, possible evidence connected to Hale." They search the rest of the car carefully. No blood, no wallet, no ID. But they find an old flashlight in the trunk, cracked and dead, and tucked inside the glove box, half a police field notebook. The pages are soaked, the ink blurred, but the cover says, RH-27. They seal everything in bags and load it into the SUV. As they take photos, one of the officers quietly says, "This isn't a patrol car. Why was he even in this thing?" Nobody has an answer. But for the first time in 6 years, they have something solid. A piece of Ryan. The Hale family is called. Mark drives out to the scene himself. When he sees the jacket, he just stares. Then in a whisper, "That's his, that's Ryan's." The wreckage is loaded up. The hillside is taped off. The mystery just got deeper and darker. The car is taken to a secure lot behind the county station. Detectives run the VIN number. It's not Ryan's cruiser. Not even close. It's a civilian car, a silver '96 Ford Tempo, registered to a man named Alan Rowe, bought used from a private seller. No flags, no stolen reports, nothing suspicious on record. Rowe was questioned the week after Ryan went missing, back in 1997. He said he hadn't seen anything. And the strange part, Rowe died in 1999, heart failure, no connection ever made to the Hale case. So why is Ryan Hale's jacket in his car? Police dig through old case files. There's no overlap, no known connection between Ryan and Alan Rowe. They contact Rowe's widow. She says the car was stolen in late 1997, months after Ryan vanished. She never reported it because she thought one of her nephews had taken it and crashed it somewhere. She written it off, bought a new car, never thought about it again. Detectives ask for photos from the time. She finds one, Rowe standing next to the silver Ford in their driveway. Same car, same license plate, same dent in the front bumper. They recheck the location of the wreck. It's almost 3 miles off the main road, down a service trail that leads nowhere. And here's the thing, that trail was gated off in 1998 after erosion made it unsafe. No one drove through it for years. So whoever crashed the car there knew the area well, knew how to get in and how to hide it. One detective says, this wasn't an accident, this was staged. But staged by who? And why would someone put Ryan in that car? More questions rise. Did Ryan get into that car willingly? Was he forced? Was he alive when he was put in? And the biggest one, where's the rest of him? Because inside the car, there's no blood, no bones, no body, just the jacket, and a name stitched into the past. The case is reopened. The Hale family gets a call, we think we found something. But even now, no one can explain it. Not yet. The trunk is rusted shut. It takes nearly 10 minutes for the officers to pry it open. When they finally lift the lid, the smell hits them first. Old metal, mildew, and something else. Inside, there's a mess of broken glass and torn carpet. But one thing stands out right away, a black leather belt snapped in the middle. It has a holster attached to it, the kind that holds a sidearm. The belt is stained dark red, blood, dried and soaked in. One officer turns it over and sees something written in faded ink. RH-92, Ryan Hale, his academy year. Then they check the trunk's right side panel. A loose piece of plastic is pushed inward like someone hid something behind it. When they pop it open, they find a clear Ziploc bag tucked deep in the gap. Inside are pills, blue, round, about 30 of them. There's no prescription label, no bottle, just pills. Back at the lab, tests show they're a rare kind of muscle relaxant, used in some hospitals for surgeries, but not something you'd find in a normal home. Why would these be in a hidden panel? Why next to Ryan's bloodied belt? The car is now a full-blown crime scene. The morning after the pills and belt are found, the police tape off the entire area. News spreads like wildfire. It's been 6 years since Ryan disappeared, but suddenly it's like no time has passed at all. Reporters swarm mile marker 83. TV vans line the road. Drones fly overhead. Mark Hale hears the news from a friend. He doesn't wait. He drives straight to the slope, still in his work boots, and walks up to the car. The wreck has been moved to a tarp-covered space beside the tree line. He stares at it for a long time. His face doesn't move. Then he walks to the edge of the trees and just sits down, silent. A deputy approaches and hands him a clear evidence bag. Inside is a name tag, fabric torn at the edge. It says R. Hale. Mark doesn't say a word, just keeps looking at the car. Finally, he says, "Why was he ever in that car?" And that becomes the question everyone starts asking. Not what happened to Ryan, but why. The car is old and crushed, but the forensics team still checks everything. They dust the inside for fingerprints, steering wheel, gear shift, trunk latch. Most of it is rusted or wiped clean, but deep under the dashboard on the inside of the glovebox door they find a smudge, a partial print. It's faint but clear enough. They run it through the system, and it hits Curtis Jenks, a local mechanic, released from prison just 4 months ago. His record includes auto theft, illegal dumping, and 1 count of obstruction. Nothing violent, but shady enough. What makes this worse? In the 90s, Curtis worked at a small garage just 10 miles from where the wreck was found. Police pull up his old work history, and there it is. From 1996 to 1998, he was doing roadside repairs near mile marker 83. Now the big question becomes, why are Curtis's prints in the car that holds Ryan Hale's bloodied belt? They decide it's time to bring him in. Curtis Jenks lives in a small rental behind a gas station now, keeps a low profile. Police don't make a scene. They quietly knock, ask him to come down to the station. He agrees. Inside the interrogation room, he's calm, sits back in his chair, says he doesn't know anything about a car in the woods. They ask him if he remembers Ryan Hale. He says no. They slide over a photo. It's the belt, the one found in the trunk, stained, cracked, with RH92 barely visible. Curtis stares at it. Then his mouth opens slightly. He leans forward. His hands start shaking. "Where'd you get this?" he asks. The detective doesn't answer. He just stares back. Curtis doesn't speak again for a full minute. Then he sighs, leans back and covers his face. He says, "Okay, look, I didn't kill anybody, but yeah, I know that car." Just like that, after 6 years of silence, they have their first real break. Curtis starts talking. He says it was late 1997. He doesn't remember the exact date, but it was cold. Maybe November. A man came to his shop near closing time. Said he had a car he needed gone, fast. No paperwork, no plates, just cash. Curtis asked what happened. The man told him, "It was an accident. That's all, just an accident. I don't want the car found." He offered Curtis $500 to get rid of it. Curtis didn't ask more questions. That night, Curtis followed the man to a back road near mile marker 83. The sedan was already there, pulled off into the trees. Curtis drove it deeper into the woods himself. No lights, no sound. He found a small gully and pushed the car down with his truck. It rolled once and slammed into a tree. He left it there. He never looked in the trunk, never opened the glove box, didn't care what was inside. He took the money and never spoke about it again. Until now. Curtis sits across from detectives, his hands shaking. He tells them what happened that night in 1997. He says it was late, close to midnight. He drove out toward the woods with an old flatbed truck. A man had called him earlier that day, said there was a wreck he wanted gone. No questions, just cash. Curtis needed the money. He says when he got there, he found the car already hidden off a dirt trail. It was wedged between trees, partly covered in leaves and brush. The front end was smashed, windshield cracked, but the back door was still intact. Curtis hooked the winch and started pulling. That's when he looked inside the back seat. "I saw a man," he says. "He was wearing a police uniform." Detectives lean in. Curtis keeps talking. He had tape over his mouth. His head was tilted. His eyes were open, and he was breathing. Slow, but breathing. Curtis says he froze. He thought it was a joke, maybe a prank. "I mean, cops don't end up like that. Not just sitting there alive." He panicked, unhooked the winch, got in his truck and drove off. He never told anyone. Until now. Detectives ask him, "Why didn't you call it in?" Curtis looks down. He says at the time he was just out of prison, on probation. He had a record, drugs, petty theft. He knew if police found out he'd been near a crime scene, especially one with a hurt cop, he'd be the first suspect. "I didn't want to go back inside," he says. "I didn't trust anyone." Curtis says he tried to forget what he saw, told himself maybe it was a mannequin, maybe the guy was already dead, maybe the car would be found later and someone else would deal with it. "I figured if it was real, somebody would report it. They'd send a search team. They'd find the car. It wouldn't just stay there." But it did stay there for 6 years. Detectives ask, "Why speak now?" Curtis sighs, says he saw the news, saw the badge, the jacket, the photos of Ryan Hale, and he remembered the man in the back seat. "It was him," he says quietly. "I know it now. I should have done something, but I was scared. Now it's too late." But the truth is finally coming out. Behind the two-way glass, Ryan's older brother Mark stands still, arms crossed. He's listening to Curtis tell the story, every word about that night, the wreck, the man in the back seat. Mark's eyes don't move, but his jaw tightens. For 6 years, Mark imagined hundreds of endings. Maybe Ryan got ambushed. Maybe he ran. Maybe he died quickly. Or maybe he survived longer than anyone thought. Now he knows. Someone saw Ryan, breathing, taped up, still alive. Curtis says again, "I didn't know what to do. I thought it was fake." Mark turns away, paces. His little brother wasn't a prop. He wasn't a joke. He was fighting to stay alive in that car, just waiting for someone to help. And help never came. Detectives offer to bring Mark in. He says no. He doesn't want to see Curtis face to face. Not yet, maybe not ever. But Mark does speak. He tells the lead detective, "Don't let him spin it like he was just scared. He left a cop, my brother, to die alone in a car. That's not scared. That's selfish." The detective nods. "We're not done yet." Mark steps out into the hallway. He doesn't cry. He just mutters, "Now we know." Police believe Curtis. His fingerprints match the ones inside the crushed car. His story checks out with the timeline. And the location he gave, it lines up exactly with where the vehicle was found. They charge him, not with murder, but for hiding the car and failing to report a potential crime. It's enough to hold him. But more importantly, they now have something they didn't have before, a living witness. Someone who saw Ryan Hale alive hours or even days after he vanished. For the first time in years, detectives feel like they have a path forward. They're not chasing ghosts anymore. Curtis gave them a location, a night, a man who paid in cash. That's a lead. And in cold cases, a real lead is everything. Detectives open a fresh board, start pinning up photos again. Ryan's picture is at the center. 6 years after the trail went dark. It just lit back up. With Curtis's story now on the record, detectives go back to square one, the 1997 police files. They pull every name, every arrest, every small detail from the week Ryan disappeared. Most of it feels useless, but then one name stands out. Dean Stiller. He was arrested 4 days before Ryan's last known sighting. The charge: stalking a woman in a nearby town, a waitress. He'd been showing up at her workplace and even followed her home once. He got arrested, but then released without charges. Not enough evidence. That file sat in a cabinet for 6 years. No one ever looked at it again. Until now. The lead detective says, "Let's find out where Dean Stiller was the night Ryan disappeared." They start digging. Dean had no family in town, no address after 1997, no criminal record after the stalking charge. He just vanished off the radar. But something else pops out. A witness from back then had mentioned seeing a strange man at the crash site. She said he stood near the trees, watching the tow truck. The sketch they drew in '97. It looks a lot like Dean. One of the cold case detectives quietly says, "If that's our guy, we just found the missing link between Ryan and that car." The deeper they look, the stranger it gets. Dean Stiller wasn't just passing through town. That spring, he'd been hired as a forest contractor by a small company doing trail cleanups and logging work. His assigned area, a stretch of forest 5 miles from where Ryan's car crashed. He worked the job for only 3 weeks. Then, just 2 days after Ryan Hale disappeared, Dean quit. No warning, no call, no last paycheck collected. He just left. The company's owner remembers Dean well. He was quiet, weird, always watching the trees, like he expected someone to be there. When detectives ask why no one reported Dean leaving, the owner shrugs. "We didn't do background checks back then. If a guy didn't show, we just hired someone else." So Dean walked away. From the job, from the town, from everything. And no one asked questions. Detectives check national databases. No driver's license renewals. No phone bills. No taxes. No medical records. It's like Dean Stiller went dark the minute Ryan vanished. But now they have a new theory. Curtis didn't know who the man in the back seat was, but someone did. Someone who taped Ryan's mouth shut, put him there. And that someone had a reason to run. One big question still remained. Who owned the crushed car that Ryan was found in? Curtis never knew. He just said it was a civilian car, definitely not a police vehicle. So detectives checked the plate, now recovered from the back of the wreck. It's damaged, but the numbers are still readable. The DMV records come back within hours. The car, a four-door green Chevy, registered to Dean Stiller. That's it, that's the match. Dean never reported the car stolen, never sold it, never transferred ownership. He just stopped using it. The last time the vehicle was officially seen was at an oil change in early May 1997, 2 weeks before Ryan vanished. And now, years later, it's the same car Ryan was trapped inside. Detectives dig into the VIN and find even more. The car had been flagged once, parked illegally in a backlot near the tree line. That location, less than 2 miles from where the car was pulled out of the flood. Dean's name is suddenly tied to everything. The crash site, the abandoned car, the job near the woods, and the last known vehicle Ryan was ever seen in. The lead detective finally says it out loud. Dean Stiller didn't just vanish after Ryan disappeared. He made Ryan disappear. The torn belt and Ziploc bag of blue pills are sent to the lab. Forensic teams move fast. They pull blood samples from both items. It takes a few days, but finally the results come back. 2 people's DNA are on both items, Officer Ryan Hale and Dean Stiller. It's enough. It proves that Ryan was in that car, and so was Dean. Police immediately file for a search warrant. The judge signs off. They now have legal permission to search anything connected to Dean, his home, vehicles, storage units, anything. But here, the problem. No one knows where Dean is. He hasn't had a real address in years. His phone is a prepaid burner. He hasn't filed taxes since 2001. He's like a ghost. So police start small. They go back to his last known job, the Forest Service Contractor Company. One retired supervisor remembers Dean acting strange the week Ryan vanished. Nervous, kept leaving the worksite early. A background check reveals Dean had a short criminal history, mostly minor stuff, trespassing, petty theft, public disturbance. But there's one arrest that now means everything: stalking. Back in spring 1997, just 2 weeks before Officer Ryan disappeared, Dean had been arrested for stalking a local woman, the same woman Ryan had recently helped in a domestic call. Now, things are finally starting to connect. It takes weeks, but finally, a break comes from a ranger in northern Montana. He spots a man matching Dean's description living in an old trailer near the Canadian border. The area is remote, no roads in, just forest trails and thick brush. Police move in quietly. They don't want to risk losing him again. At dawn, they find the trailer. It's rusted. No power, no water, just a satellite dish and an old four-wheeler parked outside. Dean Stiller opens the door in a hoodie and jeans. He doesn't run, doesn't fight. He looks tired, thin, like he's been hiding for years. When officers handcuff him and show him the photo of Ryan Hale's bloodied uniform, Dean stares at it for a long time. Then he says something no one expected. "Didn't think you ever find that." They read him his rights. He doesn't ask for a lawyer. Dean is taken into custody and transported back across the state line. Investigators search the trailer. Inside, they find old newspaper clippings about Officer Ryan Hale's disappearance, notes scribbled on yellow paper, maps with pins in them, and one more thing, a photo of Ryan Hale, alive. Inside an interview room, under bright lights and rolling tape, Dean Stiller tells the truth. He sits slouched in the chair, voice low, no tears. He says it started with a woman. She worked in the city records office. Dean had met her at a coffee shop and became obsessed. He followed her home, left notes on her car. She never responded. Eventually, she called the police. Officer Ryan Hale was the one who came to her door. Dean says Ryan warned him once politely. A week later, Ryan found him parked outside her house and threatened to arrest him if he ever came back. That was the moment Dean snapped. I felt embarrassed, small, like I was nothing. Weeks later, Dean was driving back from work when he saw flashing lights up ahead. An accident. He pulled over, and there was Ryan alone, bent over a wrecked vehicle. Dean parked just up the hill, got out, walked down the embankment. He says he just wanted to talk, maybe scare him, maybe get even. But Ryan recognized him immediately. He shouted for Dean to get back. Dean pushed him. Ryan punched him in the face. They struggled. Dean shoved him again, this time harder. Ryan lost his footing, slipped on the wet rocks and hit the side of the car door. Hard. Dean says he stopped moving. He panicked, thought he killed him. So instead of calling for help, he stuffed Ryan into the back seat of the wrecked car, still breathing, just barely, and taped his mouth shut. I didn't know what to do. I thought he'd wake up. I just left. Then he hiked out, got in his truck and drove home. He never called 911, never looked back. When investigators ask Dean why he didn't go back, he stares at the floor. I was scared, he mutters. I thought I already crossed the line, and no one was gonna believe me. I didn't mean to kill him. He insists he thought Ryan would wake up, break the window and get out. But he didn't, did he? The detective asks. Dean says nothing. Back in the observation room, Ryan Hale's family watches the interview. His mother holds his police academy photo in her hands. His brother Mark stands frozen behind her. They all knew Ryan was brave, that he helped people, but they never imagined this would be how he died, trapped in a wreck, alone, injured, and left behind like a piece of garbage. They listen to Dean's words, his excuses, his fear, and none of it brings comfort. Because what really killed Ryan wasn't a crash. It wasn't even the fight. It was the choice Dean made after. The choice to walk away. Ryan's mother finally speaks. He could have lived, she whispers. He might have been okay. The room is silent. Everyone is thinking the same thing. This didn't have to happen. 1 week after Dean's confession, investigators return to the crash site. They bring dogs, shovels, heavy equipment. They start digging around the car wreck. For years, this area had been searched, but not deep enough, not far enough. This time just 30 feet downhill, through thick roots and fallen branches, a cadaver dog alerts. The team gets quiet. They start clearing the dirt carefully, layer by layer. Then bones. They find a human skull first, then a spine, then ribs, arms, and legs, all buried under loose earth like someone had tried to hide them. Next to the bones, they find something else, a rusted police badge. It's Ryan Hale. A cracked two-way radio lies nearby, covered in mud. One of the officers picks it up. The antenna is broken clean off. And just a few inches away, they find a notebook. It's soaked, nearly falling apart. But inside, some of the pages are still readable. It's Ryan's duty log, his notes from past patrols. Names, plates, quick sketches, scribbled reminders to call his mom. Everyone at the scene goes quiet. It's him. After all these years, Ryan Hale had been lying just 30 feet from where they last looked. Right there the entire time. When Mark Hale gets the call, he's already expecting it. Still, his legs go weak when he hears the words, "We found your brother." He drives straight to the scene. The area is blocked off. Cops, forensic techs, and news crews are everywhere. But when Mark arrives, everything seems to stop. An officer walks up and holds something out. It's Ryan's badge. The edges are rusted, but the number's still there, the one Mark memorized as a kid. He takes it in his hand, stares at it. Then his shoulders start shaking. No words, no sound, just tears running down his face. "He was right here," he whispers. "All this time he was right here." Someone helps him sit down on a folding chair. He looks out toward the trees. It's quiet, peaceful, and that makes it worse. They call his mother. She doesn't speak when she hears the news, just starts crying on the phone. Loud, painful sobs. Then she collapses. She's rushed to the hospital, but it's not her body that's broken, it's everything else. The years of wondering, the weight of silence, it all crashes down. At the crash site, Mark finally stands. He walks down the hill, stops where they found the bones. He takes off his cap, closes his eyes, and says quietly, "I've got you now, brother." Dean Stiller is brought to court under heavy guard. It's the trial everyone's watching. The courtroom is packed. Ryan Hale's family sits in the front row. Mark is there every day. Dean doesn't say much. He just sits at the defense table with his head down. The prosecutor plays the full confession. Jurors listen as Dean admits everything. How he followed Ryan, how they fought, how Ryan went limp, and how he walked away, leaving him to die. Then forensics take the stand. They explain how the bones match, how the dirt over the body had been disturbed years ago, like someone had tried to bury it quickly. The jury deliberates for only 5 hours. When they return, the courtroom holds its breath. Guilty, the foreman says, on all counts. Dean Stiller is sentenced to life in prison without parole. Outside, reporters crowd Mark. He doesn't smile, he doesn't celebrate. When asked how he feels, he says, "This isn't closure. Nothing brings Ryan back, but it's justice. That's what we needed." Then he steps away, alone. The sun is setting behind the courthouse. And for the first time in years, the truth is no longer missing. It's been 6 years since Officer Ryan Hale vanished. But now his body has come home. The department organizes a full police funeral. It's exactly what Ryan deserved. On the day of the funeral, the streets are lined with people. Every officer in the county is there. Police cars stretch for miles, lights flashing. Bagpipes play in the distance. The sound echoes through town. Ryan's casket is draped in the American flag. 6 officers carry him slowly down the church steps. Everyone is silent. Some are crying, some are just staring, but nobody is talking. Inside the service, Mark gives a short speech. His voice shakes as he says, he never stopped being a cop. Even when no one was looking for him, Ryan never left the line of duty. Ryan's mother can't speak. She just holds the folded flag they hand her. Her hands are shaking, but she won't let go. At the burial, a 21-gun salute rings out. Then taps, the final goodbye. Even people who never met Ryan came that day. They stood along the road holding signs. Some waved flags. Some just placed their hands over their hearts. This wasn't just a funeral. It was a thank you. A few weeks later, the town does something small but powerful. At the edge of the woods near the old crash site, a group of locals gather. They've placed a new sign in the dirt. It's simple, just a black plaque. It reads, "In memory of Officer Ryan Hale. End of watch, May 3, 1997. Around it, wildflowers have been planted, purple, yellow, blue. Some kids painted small rocks and left them there. Others placed badges, flags, and old photos." Mark stands in front of the plaque. His hands are in his jacket pockets. He takes a breath. Then he says, "We searched everywhere, cities, mountains, forests, but he was always right here, just down the hill. We passed him 100 times and never saw him. People are quiet, just the wind in the trees." Then Mark says one last thing. "We brought him home. That's what matters now." Everyone nods, no speeches, no cameras. Just a simple goodbye at the place where it all happened. The plaque stays. So does the memory. 6. The notebook's final entry, 260 words. Ryan Hale's notebook was found in the dirt, soaked through, pages stuck together. Most of it is unreadable, but the last few lines, still visible. Investigators dry it carefully, preserve what they can. On one of the last pages, scribbled in black ink, they find this line. "Same guy again. Something coming, I'll be ready." That's it. No name, no explanation, just that line, but it says everything. Ryan had figured it out. He knew he was being followed. And even though help never came, he was still ready to act, still trying to do his job. The notebook is placed inside a small glass case at the memorial wall in the station. Officers walk by it every day. Some pause, some don't, but the message is always there. It's more than evidence. It's Ryan's voice, frozen in time. Mark visits often. He stands in front of the case and just stares. He says he doesn't need to read it anymore. He's already memorized the line. "Something coming, I'll be ready." Now it's part of the department, a reminder of Ryan, of the truth, of how close they were and how far. They almost missed it, but he never did. 7. Leo's quiet return, 280 words. No press, no attention, no one even sees him. A few weeks after the funeral, tow truck driver Leo drives up the same dirt road where he made the call, the same road that led to Ryan's body. But this time, there's no urgency, no police tape, just silence. Leo parks by the trees, steps out holding a small bunch of white flowers. He walks over to the base of the hill, exactly where they found Ryan. He kneels down, sets the flowers on the ground. Then he just sits there for a minute, quiet. Finally he says, "Didn't know him, never met him, but I'm glad I stopped. I'm real glad I stopped." His voice is soft, barely above a whisper. Then he stands up, brushes off his knees, and looks out over the clearing. There's a plaque nearby now, and wildflowers. Leo nods once. Then he walks back to his truck. No speech, no photo, no one clapping or thanking him, but he doesn't need that. He did his part. He listened to his gut. And because of that, a family got answers. Leo climbs into the driver's seat. The engine starts. He drives off slowly, back down the same road. This time there's peace.